and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelley and my channel is dedicated to talking about how to be eco-friendly in a modern context. This week we're going to do something kind of different. It is officially summertime now, and since the weather is getting warmer, I had originally thought that we were going to talk about like self-care, like how to do maybe a eco pedicure, how to get in sandals. How to get your feet and sandals looking good for the warmer weather. But then I thought, okay, in first aid, you got to see my toes. And honestly, we share a lot on this channel, but I won't subject you to that again so soon. So I thought we might as well do something different. And by different, I am thinking that what I wanted to talk about today is maybe some eco trends. I've noticed that we talk a lot about fashion and how to be environmentally friendly in a fashionable way. One of my first videos was actually, talking about that, the rules that I follow for how we're not being wasteful when it comes to what we wear. And that's the biggest reason why I started doing these videos. So I thought I would do something fun, and what we'll do today is we're going to focus on a fashion trend. We'll focus on one fashion trend and how to be environmentally friendly with it. And since it's summertime, I thought we might as well focus on Mermaidcore. Now, the reason why I chose Mermaidcore is for a couple of reasons. First off, it's the beginning of summer. Mermaidcore has kind of been on the back burner. It's been kind of percolating with the trends. I think a lot of fashion houses saw it coming because with media, with movies, there is a live action The Little Mermaid movie, which is Disney, and it's funny, I remember when I was growing up, I was a preteen when the animated movie came out, and so when the live action came out, of course there's going to be a lot of hype around it, and we're going to just talk about some of the influences of it, and that does influence fashion a whole lot. The other reason that Mermaidcore is huge is because it is, of course, it's summertime and we're going to the beach. I'm actually going to the beach tomorrow. When this video posts, I'll probably already be there. But it's funny, you know how it is throughout the year. It's always good to take breaks periodically, and honestly, I like to take a break at the beginning of summer just because there's a vibe to it, right? School's out and it's all exciting. The other thing is that if I've been kind of quiet on my social media platforms, it's because I do have a day job. I just do these videos for fun. And work has been very, very busy. So of course, I kind of feel like the Little Mermaid where I want to be out and among people again. So that was half the reason I decided to do this video too. And actually, as I was packing for the beach, I was thinking about this a lot. Okay, how to be environmentally friendly. Now, to start, anytime I buy clothes, any clothes, there's several rules that I follow. The way that you stay environmentally friendly is if you buy natural fibers, don't buy anything synthetic, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. Don't buy anything synthetic. Synthetic fibers don't biodegrade. They have a lot of chemicals and dyes, and it's bad for your skin. And it's not good for the environment. So if possible, look for natural fibers. Second thing is buy secondhand. Don't buy anything brand new. And you'll see as we go through the video, everything that I'm showing you, I've either, had for a long time, or I've bought secondhand and I'm giving it a second or third life. Next thing is wear what you have. There's something called a 30 wears rule. When you purchase something, the goal is to wear it out. You don't want to just wear it once, and that's something that we're going to talk about, especially with trends like Mermaidcore. It's very tempting to get the one statement piece that's glittery and very mermaid-esque, but then not be able to wear that piece several times, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the goal is that you want interchangeable pieces. You want pieces that you can wear for Mermaidcore, that you can wear for different styles and wear it many, many times. You want to wear a garment at least 30 times, and then after that, either sell it or donate it or let it have another life. You never just want to wear something once and throw it away. So those are just some of the rules that we talk about. That's how you become environmentally friendly. So to jump right into Mermaidcore, the biggest reason Mermaidcore is kind of taking off is not just because it's summer and everyone's going to the beach. It's because there is a live action movie of The Little Mermaid coming out. And it's starring Halle Bailey, who is a beautiful actress. And what's really kind of interesting is that there's been a lot of videos that have talked about this, but every Disney movie has kind of been remade in a live action version. Now, I'll be completely honest, I do still love the original animation. They've remade several of these movies in live action, and the remakes are not bad. I enjoy them, but something about the original is just dear and close, near and dear to my heart. But one thing that I loved about it being live action is that the imagery and the on land costumes are a little bit easier to replicate than a cartoon, right? And when you're looking at fashion, when you're trying to emulate a cartoon, that's when it can get kind of, that's when what you buy can look cartoonish, and that usually means synthetic fibers. Now, one thing that I noticed is that as this Mermaidcore, comes about, the first thing that I get fearful with, and that's half the reason I wanted to do this video, is when something like Mermaidcore comes out, you think a lot of metallics, you see a lot of net-like sheer fabrics that are all polyester or nylon, and the other thing is you see a lot of sequins and beading. And the problem with all of that is that, first off, a lot of people will probably be buying that new, buying it from fast fashion, and it's all synthetic fibers that aren't really good for the environment. The other thing is that when you look at it, Mermaidcore can be very niche. It can be very like, okay, you can only wear this dress when you're dressing like a mermaid for the one day. But that's what we want to avoid. We don't want to wear things once.
So I have seen a lot of celebrities doing that. I see them wearing sequins, and actually the first image that when you type in Mermaidcore, the first image that pops up is this lady, this beautiful model standing on a pier in the sunset, wearing this gown that's covered in like seashell sequins. Now, one big caution with sequins or beading is that sequins and beading usually equates to child labor. If you are buying that fast fashion, which you normally do, that usually means that it's produced quickly, and it's usually done with a lot of children making those clothes. So the other thing is that it's probably plastic sequins and things like that. So when I see these celebrities wearing this kind of stuff, I really kind of cringe, because that's the first rule when I think of Mermaidcore. I don't go with any beading or things like that. You really don't need it. There's other ways that you can add those embellishments, either with jewelry or with the clothes that you wear, and we'll see that in a minute. There's other ways that you can add that element of shine and sparkle without it being, sequins or beading. So that's one thing you do want to avoid if you're doing Mermaidcore. Now, the other thing that I see a lot with it is a lot of polyester netting. You'll see a lot of like sheer fabrics, but what it is it's nylon, or it's, the problem with polyester is polyester is polyurethane. It's gas, it's oil, and the other thing is it's synthetic. It's full of chemicals that's not good for your skin, and it doesn't breathe really well. Even if it's a net fabric where you think, oh, it's ventilated, it's still plastic. And by, even if it, is seems like, oh, that breathes fine, it still traps a lot of heat against your skin. It's like wearing a plastic bag. So really, you don't want to wear those kind of fabrics, especially in the hot summer weather. But what I was thinking is the way, and as I'm packing for the beach, I did, I had been watching a few of these reviews. Here on YouTube, there's several movie reviews that talk about the live action Little Mermaid. Now, there's mixed reviews about it. I haven't seen the movie personally. I just remember the original animated film being huge. I was a preteen, so I didn't watch it repeatedly like the little kids did, but I got into it like we all do. We were all rooting for Ariel.
But the live action is not bad, and I'll actually post one of the reviews that I did watch by a channel called ModernGurlz. And I really liked this review because she was very honest. You know, when I saw the animated flounder, I was a little scared. And honestly, you know, Sebastian is a main character. You have to really do him right. But one thing that I noticed in that video that I thought was really, really cool is in the video she talked about how the live action Little Mermaid takes place in the Caribbean. And what is beautiful about that is that when you dress, you know, for the beach, or, you know, it's like dressing for going to the tropics, right? It's beach weather, right? And one thing that I've noticed is that the Caribbean style of dress is very beautiful in the fact that it has a lot of tradition in it. And we're going to talk about that more in a minute. But the way that you can really be mermaid core across the board without it looking like, you know, you popped out of a clamshell. So, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But the first way that you can kind of be environmentally friendly and following our rules. So the first rule is natural fibers. So really, if you want to do a metallic look, because, you know, when I think mermaid core, the first thing I think is, how do you imitate the shapes of nature, right? Because that's the point, right? Mermaid is about the ocean. It's about the glorious natural beauty of the ocean. Why are we going to replicate that with a bunch of synthetic, nasty fabrics, right? That's almost a disservice. So instead of doing like polyester metallic fabric, why don't we do silk? And this is actually something I tried. I have 2 silk camisoles, one in gold and one in purple. And I brought them pre-owned off of eBay for like under $20 each, 100% silk, so 100% biodegradable fabric, and that breathes very nicely on your skin. Now, what I noticed is, you know, so when you think mermaid core, you think, okay, you know, the way that you do it is, you know, natural fibers like silk or cotton or linen would really give you that beach feel that we're talking about, like going to the tropics, going to the Caribbean, going to the beach. You know, all of those fabrics are very breathable. So silk, cotton, linen, you know, hemp, all of that is a very beachy vibe, right? Now, if you have been watching my social media platforms, the last couple months, I've really been into collecting seashells. And it just happened. My friend was at a beach in Florida and she sent me a bag of shells. And then I found, actually, it's right here, I found a beautiful Queen Anne's conch. And the camera doesn't do it justice, but I'll put up some pictures. But the pattern on the top and the net of the shell, and I have a bowl of coral. So, you know, when I think about it, if you know, they always say fashion is just art in motion. Why not recreate? If you want to do mermaid core, instead of doing sequins and beadings and things like that, just go ahead and put natural fibers in, you know, look for natural fibers bought secondhand and put together outfits that are based on the shapes and colors of nature. So that's what we're going to look at. I have a few outfits that I can show you here. The other thing is that if you are a fan of the new live action Little Mermaid movie, one of the things that I absolutely love, and that's really good, that's very eco-conscious with that movie coming out, is there's actually there's a magazine called V Magazine, and it's a fashion magazine that's really big. It's like 11 by 17 size. I bought the edition that's featuring Halle Bailey. And what I loved about it is that, you know, yes, all the clothes are couture, but the photo shoot is absolutely gorgeous, guys. And what I was drawn to was all the colors, right? Because when you see mermaid core, you Google mermaid core, you see all this polyester and sequins and da-da-da-da-da. when I looked at these pictures, I saw the colors of the ocean. I saw the shapes of the ocean. You saw things that look like coral, that look like the shapes of a shell, that look like the shape of driftwood. The other thing that you think of is a lot of netting. You know, you think of fisherman nets and, you know, and grease, the colors of blue. And the other thing is that, you know, I looked at that, and I actually bought the magazine, which wasn't that expensive. It was like $16. And when you can drop $30 on a Vogue, that's a pretty good deal. But I'll also link there's a link to the V Magazine website, and I'll put that below. But I was drawn to the fact that, okay, you want to do Mermaidcore, let's just go ahead and take pieces. So to do Eco Mermaidcore, take pieces that you already own that are natural fabrics in the colors and patterns of Mermaidcore, you know, and create your outfits that way. So here, we'll jump right in. Here's a few of the outfits that I came up with. Now, the first outfit I thought of is I really loved the gold and creams and whites. Now, if you watched my last video on donations, it is very also important that when you do this, that you think about your color tone too, because believe it or not, if you buy new clothes that are not the right color for you, you're not going to keep those clothes because they don't look good on you, right? But using all clothes that I already owned, I have a 100% cotton, and I think it's organic cotton too, net sweater, and it's very wide. It's like a crochet, and it's very open. Like you can see what's underneath. So it's like and crochet has been very, very popular in the last couple years. So I bought that sweater. It's 100% cotton. It's a very bright cream color. It's not a warm cream because I don't look good in warm colors, but it is a cream color. And what I did is I have two silk camisoles, 100% silk, natural fibers, and I have one in gold and I have one in purple. And both of the colors, the gold does wash me out a little bit, but what I do is I actually kind of use it as a bra sometimes. I just use it under my clothes more than I actually wear it out. But I put what I thought is, okay, looking at that Halle Bailey spread of the different colors and the mingling, I said, okay, what would this look like if I did whites and creams and golds? So I went ahead and I put the silk camisole on underneath. I put the net, sweater over, and I actually wore a shell necklace that I found at the thrift store for 99 cents. And then I just wore jeans with it, and it looked fantastic. The other thing is that if you don't want to go with a gold tone, underneath you could switch it out because, again, the what's underneath peeks through. You could go with the purple tone or a blue tone, the colors of the ocean, whatever colors look good on you. What I loved about that is that instead of doing synthetic fabrics to get that metallic sheen, you can go with silk, and silk gives you that shine without any of the syntheticness, which is really, really great. And the other thing is silk breathes like a dream, guys, and it's very flowy, which is perfect, right? Now, one other thing that I did is that, so that was one outfit, and I've actually the crocheted thing I've worn that more than 20 times, and so 30 wears rule. And I actually wear that top over a red top with some cargo shorts too, which is another trend. Again, when it comes to these trends, you don't want one outfit that looks so, mermaid that you can't intermix it. You want these pieces to be your staples, but to create these looks, right? So, because when you have these staples that can be used for different trends, that means that you're going to keep that piece and you're going to use that piece, and then that's the way we want to be eco-friendly. Now, the other thing that I did the next outfit that I did was I looked at, you know, in the last video on donations, and again, I'm going to call myself out on my own hypocrisy here. I talked a little bit about tube tops last time and about how, you know, they roll down and they're, you know, and it is true. I'm not lying with that. I've not had a good time with tube tops. But one of the outfits that I noticed in the original animated Little Mermaid was the Shipwreck dress look. And I was shopping, and I am a fan of Anthropologie. Anthropologie, I know, is a bigger store, but they do have a lot of eco-friendly lines. They had a tube top that I had noticed for a while now, and again, it's been on my mind, but it was kind of like a poofy top, and it had a lot of volume. It is almost, and it is almost a crossover for bubble hem. Bubble hem has been another really popular thing, and we'll talk about bubble hem again in a minute. But it kind of looked like that, and it's 100% cotton, and it was white, and it just looked really lovely. And I went ahead and I tried it on, and I still hold the opinion that tube tops roll down too much, because I did have to pull it up a little bit. The other thing is I have to lift some weights to get my arms looking a little bit better for it. But I did absolutely love the way that it exposed my shoulders, and I can wear a necklace with it. The other thing is, if you wear more of kind of like a choker-esque necklace with maybe a little pearl on it, or maybe one of those conch shell necklaces that you get at the beach. That's a really great one, right? So that was another outfit that I thought of, you know, like just a tube top and just, you know, but 100% cotton. And the other thing is, the point of this is not to buy a bunch of new clothes. This is to use the ones that you already have. So I can pair it. The nice thing about that top, though, is that I did purchase it new, but what I can do is, I noticed that I tried it on with a dress skirt and jacket, and I could absolutely wear that top to work if I keep the jacket. And something about the volume at the top just really is flattering. You know, if everything else is a little bit more structured and tailored, having a little bit of texture there looks really good. And it kind of does look like it looks like the color of a sail or something that's more ocean-esque, right? Now, another outfit that I have is that one shirt that I have had for a long time is, and especially for the cooler nights, because we are just in the beginning of summer. So, you know, you're looking at, you know, 70 to 80, early 80 degree days. It's not blistering hot yet. Is I did have a striped long sleeve shirt that's very reminiscent of Gabrielle Chanel. And what that is it's a French sailor's suit is what it is, actually. It's the stripes of a French sailor is, it's a long sleeve, 100% cotton, and I bought it pre-owned. And it's lovely. You can wear it with a pair, I like to wear it with a pair of cigarette pants, navy cigarette pants that I've worn more than 23 times. So that's a good one that's very nautical that you can wear at night. Now, one other one that I've noticed is, and again, this can kind of cross trends a little bit, is if you're imitating the shape of nature, imitating the shape of shells, or the shape of net, or the shape of sea creatures. And one sea creature that you see a lot is a jellyfish, you know, the voluminous shapes. And what's beautiful is jellyfish come in an array of colors, you know, anything from blues to reds and whites and creams. And so I feel like the bubble hem, you know, the more bubble hems, and the tube top look very bubble hem too, but I have a black, bubble hem dress that I've worn several times. It's actually, the dress was actually made, it was originally created in 2017, and it is an Elizabeth and James creation, which that's Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's company. Elizabeth and James is the name of their sister and their brother. And Elizabeth Olsen probably sounds familiar because she is of the Marvel fame. She's the actress that plays the Scarlet Witch. But so Elizabeth and James, that product line is actually the precursor to the product line The Row. And The row is kind of infamous right now because, well, I purchased that dress secondhand for $30 off eBay about a year and a half ago, and it has been an excellent little black dress. And what's beautiful about it is that, you know, those kind of bubble hems, you know, you can wear in the summertime. And so what it is that, you know, bubble hem is another trend that you can kind of cross over with your Mermaidcore. If you have a dress that is in that shape in, you know, colors that look like a jellyfish, that's a perfect way. I actually wore that dress. I've worn that dress more than 10 times, and I have no intention of parting with it. It's my favorite dress. So even if the bubble hem trend goes away, I don't care. I'm keeping it. And I absolutely love it. I call it my Audrey dress because it really does make me feel like, you know, breakfast at Tiffany's. But the other thing is it has a very low back, and that's very good for the summer, you know, summer nights. The other thing is another big trend that's been, you know, popular is black for summer. So wearing black in summertime is very, very popular. Actually, the outfit I'm wearing right now, I wore today, and it's 100% cotton, and it's kind of got lace sleeves. It does look a little bit kind of Wednesday Addams-ish. But what it is that it is 100% cotton, and I actually got this top at the thrift store for $7.99, and I've worn it 4 times. So summer black, you know, the other thing about, you know, Mermaidcore is when you see Mermaidcore, you see a lot of the more pastel and soft and vibrant colors, which of course are great to wear in the summertime. But don't be afraid to don't be afraid to wear summer black too. That's a strong color, and especially in the beginning of the summertime when it's still kind of cool, you know, when it's like late 70s, early 80s degrees. That's the best time to wear it. And you can really incorporate that. So you can make your little black dress Mermaidcore. You could absolutely do that. The other thing I like to do is, you know, throw something over that dress to kind of, you know, make it look like more of a skirt than a formal, you know, evening wear. So, you know, and you can do netted sweaters and things like that. Now, one thing about that dress being from Elizabeth and James, with the association being to the row is very popular right now because it's a high-end, quiet luxury brand. Now, quiet luxury you've been hearing about a lot lately because what it is, you know, it's funny, in times of recession or when times get tough, it's amazing how we get kind of a preoccupation with wealth. So there's been an old money aesthetic. A lot of people want to dress like they are old money. And I'll actually post a YouTube video below that I thought was very informative that talks about the difference between old money and quiet luxury. They are completely different. Old money is an aesthetic of people who come from generation upon generation of old wealth. And in the video, it was very interesting how she brought up a very good point, which is old money has traditions, and they are raised with certain quality of merchandise, right? Quiet luxury is similar in the fact that it goes for, you know, non-flashy and quality, like high quality materials. But what it is that quiet luxury is not as rooted in tradition. So like quite literally, old money would be the royal family in England, right? They have a tradition of getting their shoes made by this quality, you know, age-old provider, wearing jewels and and believe it or not, they wear very expensive things. Quiet luxury is more in the same vein as environmental clothes because it's usually natural fibers that you pay more for, but you wear more. And the other thing about quiet luxury is sometimes it is leaned on because it's just that, especially in leaner times like that, a lot of people don't want to be flashy because they don't want to be, you know, going out the door with big logos in a time that, you know, you don't want to put a big neon sign over yourself saying, look, I've got a dispensable income. But the other thing is that quiet luxury really can be, you know, the working man's kind of clothing line, right? It's just that instead of buying a bunch of trends, you're buying quality staple pieces that last you a long time. Now, I bring this up, the reason I'm going into a tangent about, you know, that aesthetic when we're talking about Mermaidcore, the reason that I go into that aesthetic is because in the Little Mermaid remake, one of the things that they talk about that's good, that's really nice to see in the new movie, is that the movie seems to take place in the Caribbean. The live action version with Halle Bailey takes place in the Caribbean. The animated one looked like it took place in France. And, you know, so you didn't see as much culture with that. And just like we talked about with old money being rooted in tradition and culture, the way that quiet luxury parallels is, and what it is it's a little controversial. There's a lot of videos here on YouTube that say that quiet luxury is a kind of classism. It's saying, oh, well, this is how I show that I'm better than you because I have money. No. One way that we can control that perception is just like with the live action movie had beautiful scenes based in the Caribbean. And so the way that can be Mermaidcore is the dresses were not just, you know, not like the animated movie. They were very, you know, they were like flared out and frilly, like ruffles, which is another trend that's popular, but they were natural fibers, cotton and linen and headdresses and, you know, bigger earrings. And it was beautiful. It was really lovely. And that's one way that you can be environmentally friendly, because quiet luxury is very eco-friendly. You're buying staple pieces usually made of natural fibers that are meant to last and stay, you know, that you use interchangeably. So if you wanted to do Mermaidcore, you could absolutely do more of a, you know, a frilly, you know, frill dress, and don't be afraid of interjecting your culture in it. You know, I remember this last fall, I have Irish heritage, and I actually have a scarf that is 100% wool that is in an Irish weave. And what it was the way that it is a fisherman's kind of thing. And what it is when you're a fisherman, every house, every surname has a pattern of weave for your sweater. And not to be morbid, but it just means if you're ever lost at sea, you can identify who you belong to, who your family is, by the weave of your sweater. And that is how I interject. That's how I'm not old money, but I am traditionalist, and I can interject my family's history. And I do have a lot of fishermen and, you know, a lot of sailors in my family. So that's one way that you can be Mermaidcore and kind of be quiet luxury at the same time, is that you could have these kind of more, you know, integrate your traditions and your style into the pieces that you wear for summer, and then make it where you can wear those pieces over and over and over again. The other thing is that in the tradition, so the next outfit you could look at is more flared dresses. I do actually have a pinstripe dress that I am taking to the beach. That's very flattering. It's a little bit more drop-waisted, and that's another kind of trend right now. But it does look it looks very similar to the magenta dress that I showed in my fast fashion video. And I have that dress too, and that's 100% cotton. So one way that you can be Mermaidcore, and especially if you like the new live action movie, is don't be afraid to shy away from. The other thing I noticed is that with Caribbean fashion, there's a lot of patterns. Like you can wear plaid in the summer and you can have a beautiful headdress, or you could put flowers in your hair, you know, or you could tie, if you have silk scarves, you can tie it and make it like a headband. You can do all that, and that would look very Mermaidcore. Now, the last things is we can get into accessories and shoes. So the last thing is in shoes. When it comes to shoes, of course, we usually wear sandals, right? And I actually have a pair of sandals, a pair of Merles, and they're kind of flat foot. They kind of look like Birkenstocks. but I have worn these shoes out. Like I think I've worn them more than 1,000 times. I've actually worn a crack into the footbed. And I am still going to wear them because they're not, they don't need to be discarded, but I did go ahead and invest in a pair of leather and linen shoes that are more of a neutral color. One of the great fashionistas, Anna Reed here on YouTube, says, it's always good to wear nude sandals because that just goes with everything. So I am going to be breaking in a new pair of, they are pretty environmentally friendly. The soles are more of a rubber, but it is leather and linen. So I'm excited. I'm going to be wearing those sandals. So that's what you can look for when it comes to shoes. And of course, just wear it out. Really wear the shoes that you already have. You don't need 12 pairs of new shoes in order to be Mermaidcore. And honestly, mermaids are usually barefoot on the beach anyway, right? And then the other thing is accessories. I actually have a beach purse. I have a purse that is a leather drawstring, and it's just the perfect size. It's just like a little satchel, and I have used it for years. I think it is more than 10 years old at this point, and I get excited because when I pull out that purse. But other things that you can do as far as purses are concerned, I do actually have another purse that is by the ReSak, and this is actually a real environmentally one. It's the ReSak, and it's a knit bag, and it really is like a sack, right? And I have it in navy blue, but it is actually created using recycled fishing nets. And actually, fishing nets are one of the biggest pollutants in the ocean. A lot of times when they break or something, they just get discarded in the ocean. So what the ReSak does is it retrieves it, sanitizes and cleans the nets, and then they reuse the fisherman net to create bags. And they actually pay people a living wage to do it too. It's a great program. But I've had that bag for about 4 years, and I use it every summer at least once. And so that's another way. And that, just like the knitted crochet top, that looks really, really great. Now, a few other things, it's just good old, white cotton dresses, linen tops, linen shorts. And of course, if you need a little bit of shine or sheen, you can do that with your accessories. Pearl earrings are great. I'm wearing my black pearls, which is very Caribbean, or Pirates of the Caribbean anyway. But I do also have a pair of big a white stud. I call them my Wilma Flintstone pearls, and I wear that with everything. I've worn them more than 30 times. But of course, if you don't want to get so traditional with just the studs, there's lots of beautiful jewelry out there that you don't have to buy new. I highly encourage that you just go to your thrift store and look for that. Because what you want to do is, if you buy a quality pearl necklace, that'll last the test of time, because a lot of the cheaper jewelry doesn't last you as long, and then you end up throwing it away, which is such a waste. But again, if you do the beach theme jewelry, I actually have a silver ring that's in the shape of a crest of a wave. That one is a great beach thing. Also, the little woven bracelets, like leather or like hemp bracelets, that's as beach as you get, right? You feel like, okay, it's very natural, the natural fibers and natural metals, just bangles, or even wood bangles, that looks beautiful with one of these frilly dresses that we're talking about. And then, of course, the last thing I just wanted to talk about was swimsuits. Swimsuits, I'm telling you, that's, how much I talk about fast fashion all the time. Swimsuits, when you think, oh, okay, I need 4 different swimsuits for this summer, that's one thing you want to think about. You can be the Little Mermaid, but do you really need to buy 4 different swimsuits from this fast fashion house? Because the problem is that all of those swimsuits are the one area where they will be synthetic fabrics, because they have to be. You can't this isn't the 1900s. We can't go swimming in a in a knee high cotton with bloomer outfit. but I've owned the same swimsuit for over 15 years. I remember my grandmother lived at the beach for 50 years, or for 30 years, and she had the same one piece. And it's one of those things where when you just find the swimsuit that looks good on you, we really don't have to make swimwear about fashion, right? Do you really need 5 of them? Do you need to be buying it from Shein, which is poor quality and, unfair, labor wages and things like that? And the last thing circling back to the beginning, if you are looking to buy something new, just make sure that it's a natural fiber. Think about how many times you're going to wear it. We want to wear it at least 30 times. Otherwise, don't buy it. Is it the right color on you? And the other thing is, if it has sequins or beading, think about it. When the moment that one of those beads pops off, are you going to want to wear it? Probably not. And the other thing is that, yes, sequins and beading is a labor issue. It takes it's swept under the rug because you think, oh, okay, I just want to look good. I want to look like a little mermaid. But you don't need that to be attached to your clothes. That makes it difficult to launder. It creates more work for you. Instead of going for something that's covered in, shells or sequins, why don't you do like a bib necklace that's shells? Or, again, maybe have some kind of hardware or something else that's the strap of a bag, or, a long necklace, something like that. Something that that you can take off and wear again, pearl pendants, things like that. So it doesn't have to look very traditional, but that's better than having it attached to your clothes where it's just going to pop off in the wash, or the moment that you knock into something, you're not going to wear it anymore because it looks flawed. So with all this inspiration of color and shape and texture that's coming from nature, that's really the way that we want to go. We don't need to recreate nature with synthetic stuff. We can take inspiration from nature and use what we have to a beautiful effect. But I hope this gave some ideas. I hope it wasn't too tame. But I also wish everyone a good first weekend of June, and I'll see you next time. Bye.